5 o'clock is shortly upon us, but before we can talk anything, let's play the intro.
This is Philly Talk with Philly Mike. Talking sixes in the bird gang, that's I like. Competition, we ain't scared, yeah, that's what we like. Win or lose, you know we showing up and we gon' fight. You see we strive for the sky every day that go by. And every single week we screaming fly, eagles fly. This is Philly Talk with Philly Mike, yeah. This is Philly Talk with Philly Mike, yeah.
What's up? I thought I would just go live. I'm not sure what time I got to leave. It won't be a long one, but 5 o'clock is approaching, and James Harden is going to make a decision that will change the way the Sixers do business for the rest of the offseason, right? PJ Tucker has been a huge name. We heard stuff about other things, but to get PJ Tucker, James Harden got to do what we believe he's going to do, and that is take somewhat of a pay cut. But before we get too far in here, help your boy out and hit that like button. If you're watching on the rerun, subscribe and ding that bell so you know when these videos drop, recorded or live. Shout out to the people just getting in here. Like I said, we got a lot to talk about, and James Harden at any time can make the decision whether or not to opt in, opt out. If he opts out, he's not going to lose too much money. Him and Daryl Morey are too close. They'll find a way to finagle a deal where he'll sign a 2 to 3 year deal, get most of that money on the back end, but give us the flexibility this year to go ahead and get a PJ Tucker. Listen, Victor Oladipo's out there. There's a couple guys, Lonnie Walker. We'll talk all about that, but that is just from the James Harden deal. We don't know what's going to happen if Tobias Harris gets dealt as well, right? Because we've been hearing rumors left and right, mainly surrounding the PJ Tucker and the James Harden deal. But Tobias Harris' future with the Philadelphia 76er is definitely not a lock. It's definitely not a lock. I want to show you this, though. I did a video the other day talking about Mark Stein and his partner in crime who goes live with him, Keith Smith. And he said about an hour ago, either the Sixers are pulling off some serious cap wizardry, or Kyrie Irving distracted us from the fact that James Harden is actually the one taking a $30 million pay cut. Now, I'm not saying $30 million like Keith Smith is, but could that have been why all these outlets are saying they're so sure that PJ Tucker will be a Sixer? Because James Harden already behind the scenes has been communicating with Daryl Morey and pretty much saying, look, I want to win. We've heard that from James Harden. The actions hasn't spoke as loud as the words, but when he came to Philly, he's been only talking about championship. And for me being a fan, just like you guys, and being live in the play-by-plays and seeing how he plays sometimes, maybe we all overreacted in the sense that, yes, he's not the same James Harden, but he did come to this team with only 20 games to get ready to go to the playoffs. Now, some people say chemistry and how a player plays with a different set of players can just form in 20 games, but maybe not a championship team. Think about it. If you go back 20 championships, what team was formed in the middle of a season and won a championship? Not many. How many teams were formed in the middle? I'm not talking about a team being put together in the offseason, right? That could happen. But even some of the greatest teams that were put together in the offseason didn't win a championship in year one. And we're not talking about putting this team together in the offseason. We're talking about putting this team together with 20-something games left. That is what we're talking. So I got my eye on my phone because I'm not that great on OBS yet to be pulling up Twitter, but I want to make sure I don't miss when the announcement is made. NBA Central just said momentum is building toward a DeJounte Murray trade. That is Mark Stein saying that. Now, that's not to the Sixers, but DeJounte Murray, the Spurs point guard, possible trade talks. Woj did say that the Milwaukee Bucks forward Bobby Portis has informed the team that he'll decline his $4.6 million option and become a free agent, Mark Bringstein just reported. So again, Bobby Portis is another guy out there on the free agency market. But how do the Sixers change his team around? How do we do it? It starts with the first nail to fall, the first domino to fall, I should say, and that's James Harden's contract. Is he going to opt into a $47 million contract, or will he take some type of deal that gives us flexibility and gets him paid later in the long run? Shout out to everybody in here. Super Saiyan said Bradley Beal opted out. That is true, too. Bradley Beal did opt out. However, the report is that he wants to stay a Washington Wizard, but he needs that max. So the report says that he has opted out. Now he's trying to be he's trying to get into negotiations with Washington for a possible 5-year max. If he signs with someone else, he can get a 4-year pretty hefty pay deal, but not a max. I don't know exactly why. That is what Woj reported. Washington star Bradley Beal has declined a $36.4 million option and become a free agent. His agent, Beal, is eligible to sign a 5-year max to return to the Wizards or sign elsewhere on a 4-year deal. I'm not sure exactly what that is, but Keith Smith had a point. I mean, could this have been in the works? I'm ready to hear the news via James Harden. That is what we're all here for, because I think that's the first domino that falls. Now, this is another domino we have to talk about, and that is Tobias Harris. NBA Central saying that the Sacramento Kings is a possible landing spot for Tobias Harris per HP Basketball. Now, we've talked about this. Moving Tobias Harris ain't ultimately going to get you the luxurious player on the back end, but what it does is it gives you cap flexibility, plus it gives you somebody who's now, kind of sort of the same player. I'm not going to sit here and say Tobias Harris, Harrison Barnes, who's the exact best player. If we're talking about one-on-one games, it still might be Tobias Harris. If we're talking about fit with the Sixers, it might be Harrison Barnes. And when you look at what Harrison Barnes is being paid compared to Tobias Harris and what we can get in return to add as depth and role players on this team, that is where the Tobias Harris contract needs to be dealt to eventually make this team grow to where it needs to be. But again, there's a lot of people out there. We just heard Bobby Portis is Bobby Portis could be now a free agent. PJ Tucker is a guy that we are heavily invested in. You got guys like Victor Oladipo, who people want to talk about his injury problems, but he just proved that he can play pretty much a whole season and be somewhat healthy. He just played pretty well with the Miami Heat, coming off the bench and being a spark. I remember games where Victor Oladipo was lighting us up. It wasn't just the hero, Tyler Hero, for the Miami Heat. So there's a lot of things that can be done. But again, this is the first domino to fall. To me, I said it yesterday, there was something in the air about this PJ Tucker deal getting done, or they wouldn't have been clamoring about it. And I think this is the domino that allows it. Scott, channel member, said, "What's good, Mike? Been a hot minute, but glad to catch a vid. You think we can move Tobias for some bench pieces to clear space and use this space for Harden to get Beal?" Well, that's the thing. I think, Beal could be an option. If Harden, it's hard to say. It's Harden to say, because I think that Harden is going to make it easier and flexible for the Sixers to sign a player or two, but not that type of caliber. I don't think Harden is willing to do that much when it comes to his pay. I think he's going to work around it. When it's all said and done, I believe that Harden's going to eventually, when he's done playing for the Sixers, pretty much get what he would have got. But it just not hurt us this year. And while doing that, Daryl Morey got to set it up to, kind of get off this love connection with Harden and say, listen, I got to look at the team first. I know Harden is my Houston Rockets sweetheart. However, you got to set us up where we might be able to get off it down the road if this was still Harden this year and it's only going to get worse. I do think he needs to show he can play at a higher level. I still think he can play, make, and do certain things that we need as a point guard, a distributor. But it's definitely going to be very interesting to see. But moving Tobias to Sacramento, like this article says, possibility is how you can easily, free up that cap flexibility and get role players, because Harrison Barnes is probably not that much better, but can fill the same role while giving us flexibility to go get guys like Victor Oladipo, Bobby Portis. And we can't act like, when the money's available, we want the stars. But look what we've just seen, right? The Golden State Warriors got a star and then players that fit their role that look like stars? Are we really ready to come out here and say Andrew Wiggins is a star, or did he fit that team like a glove that made him look type star-ish? So, Bobby Portis of the world, PJ Tuckers of the world won't just catapult you to, give him the ball one-on-one, but with a team that goes through Embiid and has Maxey growing, and even a facilitator Harden is, you get guys like that, and the team automatically is better. Look what we went in the playoffs with. We went with George Niang as our best player off the bench, and although he was pretty good during the season, he forgot how to shoot threes in the playoffs, and I think all that plays into why the Sixers were the Sixers. We want to poo-poo Doc Rivers, and rightfully so, but I still believe that push come to shove, we only had a couple people that can make things work for our team. Now, again, we are approaching the 5 o'clock minute, the 5 o'clock hour, I should say. We've heard a couple people decline, a couple people opt in, not named James Harden, and I'm just waiting. Bobby Mark says Portis has early bird rights in Milwaukee. The maximum that he can sign for is 4 years, $49 million. So, again, Bobby Portis definitely declined his money, but I don't think he's ready to leave Milwaukee. He's just trying to see if Milwaukee's willing to pay. Listen, we got 125 people in here. Hit that like button. It's free. It's easy. It don't cost a thing, and I greatly appreciate it. It pushes the content out. We here just pretty much chopping it up. The domino that can fall first is the James Harden. The whole Tobias Harris to possible Sacramento can't be done until tomorrow at 6 o'clock is when free agency officially opens up. But again, I don't think you'll see every single move, bang, bang, boom, boom, back to back. There's going to be some times in teams thinking and pondering on the decisions. Malik B said if we can get a shot blocker like Robert Williams, it would give our offense extra chances. Hey, how about we just get a rebounder like a PJ Tucker? See, that's the thing. Extra chances can come by so many different ways. A steal is an extra chance. A rebound is still an extra chance, especially if we're talking about offensive rebounds. And sometimes defensive rebounds come in handy too, because it takes away an extra chance for the team that you're trying to stop. And throughout the playoffs, we've seen so many times that the Miami Heat missed their shot. The initial defense that the Sixers played was good, but an extra shot, an extra attempt, and then they end up leaving that side of the court with a bucket, and that came to haunt us big time. Superhero said all we need is for Harden to shoot 45% from the field like he normally did in the past 6 to 7 seasons. Exactly. He's always been a volume shooter. He's never been the most efficient guy, but that's the thing. He's not being efficient, and he's being scared to do it. So could that be him trying to find his way in the offense and trying to have guys who've shown they can grow take a bigger role too, like a Tyrese Maxey? Who knows? Again, I'm not trying to make excuses for James Harden because I was pretty hard on him in the play-by-plays. But at the end of the day, no team has put together a roster midway through and did big things in the NBA playoffs. We've seen teams put together a roster in the offseason and go decently far, but never, ever midway through. So I am, interested in seeing what this Sixers team can look like with Harden, Embiid, Maxey, and whoever else is on the roster, with the whole offseason being able to really grow together and letting Harden have that time off where he can work with his trainer supposedly. And again, I'm not holding my breath that we get a James Harden that we saw in Houston, but I think we get a more of the positive Nets James Harden that we still didn't see at times in Philly. Philly Jackson said, wondering if Bradley Beal will opt in or out. That's another big one that a couple people did mention in here. He did decline his $36-point-something million player option, but all indications, according to all the reports, is that he's opting out because Washington is willing to give him that 5-year max. I still don't understand why. And again, the NBA has so many underlying rules and stipulations to where if he signs with another team, he can only sign 4 years. But if he signs with Washington after declining, he can sign that 5-year max. If somebody in the chat understands that, please let me know because I don't know why. Steven Jackson said trades are open right now. You're right. Trades are open right now, but a lot of teams still want to do their due diligence of what they can sign via tomorrow at 6 o'clock, free agent wise. Like right now, that report I showed you via NBA Central, Sacramento is a possible landing spot for Tobias. This could also be in the works as let's see what else is out there, and if not, we could use him because the Sacramento Kings are a team that do have young talent, but it hasn't really been put together. So maybe they're willing to, get a guy with this type of contract, go through the growing pains to really reset and get some early draft capital for the 3 to 4 years down the road. I don't know. I'm not the Sacramento Kings, but they've been absolutely pretty dang bad since the whole Boogie Cousins left them and they lost everything they had. SG Eagle said, talking to Superhero, Oscar said Bogdan Bogdanovic from the Hawks would be awesome. What does he look like in the sense of, I didn't know if he's a free agent or not. Again, I haven't actually looked at every single free agent out there. I know TJ Warren is a guy that starting to get some looks from other teams. But what are we doing? They about to really make us wait until 5 o'clock on the dot. Listen, though, regardless, because I'm not going to stay too long on this live stream unless we got some really good stuff to talk about now because of everything that has transpired. Then, we might have to do it. But I'm just waiting to hear the James Harden news now that it's getting so close. We're literally at 4:58 right now. Dave Dust in the building. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Salute to you. Salute to you, bro. Appreciate you for tuning in. Hit that like button if you haven't done it. It's free. It's easy. It don't cost a thing and is greatly appreciated. The James Harden news needs to come out. Of course, it would be Sixer-like to keep us waiting to the last second and then break our hearts. To be honest, last second break our hearts. That's what we're kind of used to, but I hope not. Hope not, because James Harden taking this role as just doing what we think he's going to do, right? That started to be indicated the last 2 days, just shows the growth over the years because he's always been about himself, most valuable player, a guy who looks to score. Then he became a passer, and now he's trying to become a leader. His priorities look like they changed when they got here. They simply said, as a group and Harden's voice alone said, it's all about the team. It's all about winning. It's all about the team. It's all about winning. Well, this will show big time leadership, quality, and just a different demeanor that we didn't see from Harden in his whole career. Not saying he didn't ever want to win, but doing it this way would be pretty darn cool if he literally opts out and gives the Sixers the flexibility to sign. Could you imagine coming out of this offseason with moving Tobias Harris for Harrison Barnes and, maybe let's say Holiday, not Drew Holiday for the Milwaukee Bucks, but the other Holiday for the Sacramento Kings. Holiday's still a decent bench piece, probably better than the likes of Furkan Korkmaz, for sure. So you get a Harrison Barnes Holiday type deal. You have more cap space. Harden takes a deal that's flexible that gives us PJ Tucker, and then maybe we go out and sign a what's his name? Victor Oladipo, who a lot of people I know are going to say, I heard it on Twitter already, he's injury prone. Well, he just proved a little something with the Miami Heat, and he was that spark plug off the bench. Could you imagine having a bench of just Oladipo? If PJ Tucker's coming off your bench, for the people who are not sure about him, I just think that, between what Daryl Morey does do or can find for Tobias Harris and James Harden deciding on whether it's the team or him, this Sixer team can look two different ways. So it's hard for me to say right now. I really do want to hear the someone said, I guess Harden was focused on rerouting his cable again. It's 5:01 and there has not been no reports. You heard Bradley Beal opted out to either sign with the Wizards or sign somewhere else. You've been hearing all these moves today, and via James Harden has not said nothing. The Minnesota Timberwolves are actively shopping D'Angelo Russell, per HP Basketball. The same person that said that the Kings have interest in one Tobias Harris. So, once again, the Sixers and Harden were supposed to have a deal out there reported or signed. They slacking. Where's Woj when you need him? Where's Shams? The Sacramento Kings will let Dante DiVincenzo enter unrestricted free agency. My goodness, man. Hold up, though. We do got a super chat in the building. Super chat in the building. Shout out to Jonathan Himes with the $5 donation. He said, what's up with Warren? TJ Warren as a sixth man of the year. If he comes here, dude is a bucket. Hey, I remember him still from being a bucket in the bubble. He was unstoppable that time. It was TJ Warren, a.k.a. Michael Jordan. But yeah, man, I don't know where he's been health-wise. There's something underlying keeping him off the court. But, you know, TJ Warren is a guy who's starting to get, you're starting to hear murmurs about the Blazers looking at him, the Mavericks looking at him. Guys are starting to look at him because if he's getting his name back on the healthy paper trail, you know, then why not? He's definitely a guy. We're not asking him to come in and be a starter, playing 30-plus minutes and doing this, that, and the third. You know, if we should know as Sixer fans that 3 to 4 guys off the bench is still important to have. 3 to 4 guys off the bench is important to have because of what we tried to get out of a Furkan, what we tried to get out of a George Niang, what we tried to get out of, you know, even Paul Reed at times showed his inability to just not stop fouling. He's still way better than the likes of DeAndre Jordan and or Paul Millsap, but to have quality guys off the bench, you know, like the Heat have done, like the Warriors have done, like the Celtics have done, like the Bucks have done, shows why they can have a game off by 1 or 2 of their guys and somebody else steps up. We saw Hero save the day at times. We saw Poole save the day at times. You've seen a guy come off the bench for the Celtics, like one of the Williams guy, not the center, but the Grant Williams. And in that game 7 against the Milwaukee Bucks, he knocks down 20-plus points, knocking down every 3 that he shoots. You've seen that, and the Sixers don't have that. Mr. RP said TJ Warren lives on the reputation of one game. Can we relax on him? Again, yeah, I understand that. And again, the bubble comes out. Actually, it was more than one game if we're talking about the bubble year. But I agree in the sense of it hasn't been something like he's strung along a lot together. A lot of games good recently. I actually haven't heard him even be active on anybody's roster recently, so I don't even know what his deal is. Here we go. It just dropped right now. Hold up, and now somebody's tagging me in something else. Shams just reported his Sixers star James Harden is declining his $47.4 million player option for the 2022-2023 season and intends to return on a contract in free agency that gives the team financial flexibility to bolster the roster. Shams just dropped a bomb, and there it is. James Harden looking out for the best interests of the Philadelphia 76ers. James Harden looking out for the best interests of the Philadelphia 76ers. And now we can really talk about, welcome PJ Tucker. Now we can look at DiVincenzo, Bobby Portis. You can look at the likes of Victor Oladipo, because if Daryl Morey had this in his plans the whole time, I think what he's always been saying has low-key been true, and I think Tobias Harris is next. Tobias Harris, whether you like him or not, and as a character guy, love him. As even a one-on-one player, he's not that bad. But the contract and the fit in Philly just won't work anymore, and Daryl Morey knows that this is the guy that, if moved, can give you some of them pieces we talked about. Think about a team that don't have Tobias Harris, but has Harrison Barnes, Victor Oladipo, and DiVincenzo. Depth on and off the bench, and shooters around your 7-foot monster. Shooters around your 7-foot monster. That is great, great news. Harden sole focus, win a title in Philly next season. Harden returned to his workout and on-court regimen much sooner than he usually off-season, pouring his full focus into the 2022-2023 and a championship run. Let's go. James Harden does it again. And this is going to make a lot of people come back and say, we're willing to give him that chance. And what does Shams report? Not only is he doing that he's working out already in a way that he hasn't done since all the hamstring problems have occurred. Wow. This changes the game right here. This changes the game. This changes the game. Now, again, I told you I wasn't going to be on long. I have a lot more thoughts to say, but I don't want to steer you guys wrong just getting in here. Listen, I had a feeling this was going to happen prior to 5 o'clock, but the Sixers made us hold out all the way to the end. Anyways, I appreciate y'all for tuning in. I will have a video out probably within the next 30, 40 minutes because I do got to run a bunch of errands, but I want to get all my thoughts out, focus, and let you guys know how I feel. But as you can see right here, James Harden, the first domino has dropped. The Sixers are trying to build what we call a championship team, and it started with him. Looking at what he's able to do going forward and what this team needs around him, Maxey, and Embiid. Man, the guy stepped up big time because Russell Westbrook just took his $47 million player option. You know what I mean? Laker fans would love him to not take that. They don't even want him back, to be honest, but if he was going to be back, to take a less pay. But Russell Westbrook and James Harden, at one time people thought they were the same. They're not. James Harden is about winning. He said it. Not many people believed him, especially after the 25 to 30 games we saw. But I think that we are going to see somewhat more of a energized Harden, not Houston Harden, but energized Harden. And man, oh man, it's coming. It's coming. Now we got to talk about every single free agent out there because I don't think it's a crazy amount of money because we will look like we're going to be signing PJ Tucker. But there has been a lot of guys who've been reported declining and now out there that weren't out there. So maybe the Sixers look at a guy like DiVincenzo, who's right here from the Philly area, Philly kid, who can knock down threes. Great player to come off the bench. Man, I appreciate y'all. Until next time, y'all know what time it is. We out. Peace.